this. Now we are going to talk about what has India done. This part was how will we be impacted by others. Okay, how are we going to be impacted by what developed countries are doing? What exactly we are doing on this? Again, this is something which all of you know, I'm sure, that India has also announced to achieve the net zero emission status by 2070. Okay, in COP26. That came as a big surprise when our Prime Minister, without much kind of discussions domestically, suddenly surprised the world as well as us by telling that India is going to have the net zero emission status by 2070. On a lighter note, I thought that he is feeling safe that he won't be questioned for that. So basically, we can question him on demonetization even now, but 2070 is by far very, very later in future. So that is on the safer note. But keep one thing in mind. This is only a kind of a promise, not legislation. So don't mix it up with European Union anxiety. In Europe, European Union case, they have made it a legislation, which is the pressure is much more on a country like Europe, which it should be. Okay, I'm not criticizing India as such. It's a good thing that we are claiming that we will achieve it. In fact, a number of good things are happening in India. That's positive. We are actually taking up a number of policies beyond promises only. Okay, how far we will be able to handle that situation, it's another case, but we are doing much better than at least like US here, despite the fact that we have not contributed so much to the carbon dioxide emission. So let's talk about what else has India to say apart from this. So apart from this, in its NDC, the nationally determined contributions, in its NDC, India aims to achieve 3 targets by 2030. The first target which India takes by 2030 to be achieved is 45% reduction in emission intensity. Emission intensity refers to the greenhouse gas emissions per unit of GDP. So emission intensity is simply telling how much of greenhouse gas gets emitted per unit of GDP from 2005 levels. So this is one target, 45% reduction in the emission intensity. The second one is %50 share of renewables in electricity generation. And the third one, creation of 2.5 to 3 billion tons of additional carbon sink through forests. So undoubtedly these are very ideal targets, and according to me, even if we don't meet it exactly, even if we reach something like 70-75%, I would call it a very good step ahead. Okay, so thankfully in electricity generation, as I'll talk in the separate part, solar energy share is growing up very well. However, it may have its own issues, which we are going to discuss separately. That's a good thing. We are depending less on coal, but still dependency is not that less. Forest cover for carbon sink, it is not just for carbon sink, but for overall global warming, it is going to be very helpful as such. Just one thing to add, which you can also add in the COP27 features, by chance, if you have to write on COP27. So in COP27, India released its long-term emissions and development strategy. LTEDS basically. The long-term emission and development strategy, proposing long-term plans to decrease GHG emissions. Now this is important because this is the first long-term document which India has given so far in the climate change talks. NDCs are mostly short term. This is the first long term plan that we have given. So let's talk about what are the basic features of. We are going to look into some of the crucial features, and you may have heard about some of the features in general also. It's not something which is completely out of the box, but fine. First,
hard work.
As a developing country. So fine, nothing new. As I told you that the major concern of a country like India is that we are still too much dependent on coal for our energy needs and other needs also. So India has made it clear that even in longer term we are not going to sacrifice this energy security. However, on a positive note, it has also said that it is committed to green energy transition. Under green energy transition, it has said it will move towards, so through movement, towards a number of things actually. It is not just about renewables, that is what I wanted to tell. The first one is renewables or renewable energy sources.
Solar model.
Like solar, wind power, etc. Secondly, green hydrogen fuel and ethanol blending. To decarbonize the transportation sector. So second one is about emphasis on reducing CO2 emission in the transportation sector, green hydrogen fuel, ethanol blending. Even the third point is somewhat similar to that, increase in electric vehicles use. So India has promised to give more and more emphasis to the use of electric vehicles. Good thing is that we are actually taking up some robust steps on that. Even on ethanol blending, it has been taking place. So if you have written this part, let's move to some more. Another thing which we have promised is green building codes. To reform the urban spaces. Then creating. Sorry, this would be. This was about. Just put it in a separate point. Green energy transition had only 3. So this was the third point. There is nothing wrong that we have written. Just put it. So the first point was about. I repeat. First point was that we are not going to sacrifice our energy security. Second was more about green energy transition. 3 parts we did here: renewable, green hydrogen, ethanol blending, vehicle, electric vehicle. Then comes to the other initiatives like green building codes for urban spaces. Fourth one, creating a circular economy. The term has become very common nowadays. Creating a circular economy, steel, cement and aluminium. Although circular economy can be in general be understood also, it means that we are going to be dependent more and more on the recycled product being used. Okay, so circular economy, maybe I'll see and provide you some material also on that. In circular economy, the basic idea is that there should be minimal use of additional raw material. As in, the materials which have already been used should be recycled and reused as a raw material, and that would prevent the extra emissions in the economy. Okay, so let me see if I can get some one-page document on circular economy. I'll share that with you. Let's talk about the remaining parts. The fifth one, transition to the small grids. For the electricity generation. Sixth, enhancing forest cover. And let's add one more, which is also quite important. Cleaning up the coal sector. We have discussed it actually a few minutes ago. Cleaning up the coal sector through carbon capture, use and storage, CCUS, and also coal gasification. The terms which again takes you beyond the boundaries of economics only. and you are expected to add more stronger environment ecology class notes. Coal classification, carbon capture, storage, etc. I think this would be enough material. Obviously, there are more things in the long-term strategy that India has given. But I think for a standard question which you get either in GS or in optional also, this much will be enough on that. So that is about India in the climate talks. And we are now left with one more part of the environment development. Any question on this before that? Yeah, there is a question. Let me take it. Okay, how are emissions measured? That's quite tricky in the sense the developed countries are having certain equipments through which the CO2 emissions can be measured, but those are not available in the same manner in the developing countries like India. Like in European Union particularly, they have been very much specific with the new technology. Okay, but leave it. Let's understand that we are doing it as a part of economics subject. So more of economics.